You can't let the doubt and the negative talk from others shake your confidence and pull you away. Welcome to The Pursuit. This is the first episode of The Pursuit that only lives on the Pursuit podcast channel. So I want to welcome you if you're new to the channel. I want to welcome you if you were able to find your way from All About Your Benjamins over here. Last week I shared everything that was going on, but just as a quick recap, we have a new podcast channel that The Pursuit is going to live on. We spun this off of All About Your Benjamins. Don't worry about All About Your Benjamins fans. We're going to go back to that being a personal finance blog and podcast. So that's still going to live. That's still a part of who I am. It's still a passion of mine, so I don't want to give that up. But this pursuit concept and this conversation, I have a bigger vision for it. It needs to have its own area to grow. So on the Pursuit podcast channel, you're going to have 3 shows. You're going to have this every Friday, The Pursuit, which will just continue the same format we've always done. Sometimes there'll be a guest, but mostly it'll just be me. I'm also going to begin to have the Daily Pursuit. Now, I've got a little bit more time to plan this out. I actually have, I'm planning way more than I ever do on this. I have a daily planner that I'm going to try to plan out weeks in advance what the Daily Pursuit will be, giving myself the flexibility to change that up. But the Daily Pursuit is going to be modeled a little bit after Ryan Holiday's Daily Stoic. Not going to be all Stoicism, although we may have that in here, and that'll be a topic that will show up. But more along the lines of Monday through Thursday, I want to have a short podcast that you can tune into that will provide motivation, inspiration, a quote to get you thinking. Maybe it's something for you to meditate on or think about, or maybe it's just you just need to hear it to keep you moving forward. I don't know what it will mean for you on that day, but Monday through Thursday will be a short 5 to 7 minute podcast, sometimes hovering over a quote, like I said. It may be a follow-up to a conversation I had on a previous podcast, but just something that will be valuable for you as you go along your pursuit. Friday will be this show, and then periodically we'll have guests. So we've already had 2 guests on our pursuit. We had Carl Paoli and Tyler Galbraith, who Tyler is the editor and the creative genius behind all of these videos that you see on the YouTube channel. Now, speaking of the YouTube channel, YouTube, it will have the videos of the pursuit. And on our pursuit, the Daily Pursuit will not have a daily show up there. That's just too much editing, and they're short. I want to make the YouTube channel have the longer content there, and you can listen in on the Daily Pursuit. You will also find the shorts. So far I've done 2 mini documentaries, we're calling them shorts, of Roman and Leo. I have footage for Ange, who is my wife if you're new to the show, highlighting her passion for her store, which is right out that window if you're watching on YouTube, called Roman and Leo. So I have the footage there. I just need to have a chance to edit that up and then have a conversation with her to piece the 2 pieces together. And then I have a list of people that I want to record. I think it would be really cool to revisit some of the podcast guests, have them on as a documentary subject as well, so we can mirror the podcast and then later up follow up with the video as well. So pay attention to the YouTube channel. That is under Pursuit as well. And again, Pursuit is PRST. Passion, relationship, self, and time. And we're going to dive into those letters more and more over time. That'll show up on the daily podcast, but the Daily Pursuit podcast, but we'll dive more into that. So real quick, just wanted to give you a recap of everything going on. High level, 3 shows, the Daily Pursuit, the Pursuit on Fridays, and then On Our Pursuit, which will be the guest show. Really excited about having all this, taking my time, creating beautiful thumbnails. So when you go to Spotify, since it's the only one that shows different thumbnails, as you scroll through, I want it to be the most beautiful podcast on that channel or on that player for you to see. So silly things, little things that make me excited that hopefully will excite some of you out there as well. Now that we've got that recap done, I won't recap it again in future episodes. Let's get to today's topic of the pursuit. And we're going to talk about believing in ourselves and to summarize it in one word, confidence. And yesterday I was on a Spaces with a friend of mine named Frederick, who actually is in Uganda. He is building an app called the Confidence app, and he wrote a book called How I Found Confidence, or something to that extent. Let me check my notes real quick to make sure I don't mess that up. How to Be Confident. So he's the author of How to Be Confident, the builder, the founder of the Confidence app, and he has spaces periodically to talk about confidence and people's stories and how they get there. And as I was having the conversation with him, I couldn't help but think about how important confidence is to those of us that are on our pursuit. And again, the pursuit is not just going through life on the path that's been blazed for everybody. The pursuit is going off on our own, following our passions, allowing our heart to take us where we want to go, taking risks, but ultimately trying to create a life that brings us the maximum amount of happiness as possible, allows us to minimize regret, cut out the things we don't care about, spend more time with the people and the things that we care about the most, and just have a all around better life. That's not the same when you're going away from the status quo, when you're not doing what everybody else is doing. Confidence is going to be very important. So I wanted to touch on confidence a little bit today, give you a few things that you can do. Not all these podcasts just need to be me rambling. I would love to be able to give you some things to walk away with and take away as well. So I have a few things at the very end that we'll want to hit as well. Check my notes real quick, make sure I didn't forget anything at the beginning. All right, so we're ready to dive into it. So confidence. I've always been a big believer in confidence. And as I was sharing with Frederick yesterday, I have to attribute that to my parents. Now, I don't recall any one specific thing that they did or said that made me be a confident person, but I know that a big part of it comes from the way that they fed into me and my sister. So, believing in us, encouraging us, giving us, qualities, experiences to help build confidence, and also learn from it as well. So I think that, part of confidence comes from our upbringing. But for those of you that didn't have a great childhood or a great home, or not that you had a bad childhood or bad home, but just parents that they weren't naturally confident themselves and didn't instill that confidence in you, I also think that confidence is something that we can bring to ourselves as well. I also think that it might be something that's just in our genetic DNA as well. So all of these factors kind of bring it together. But I look at going through life as, I was always confident and believed in myself. And maybe that's just because I had a fortunate upbringing. Maybe I was lucky and I didn't have a lot of trials and tribulations to really knock me down and knock that confidence. So maybe there's a little bit of luck that plays into it as well. But I would like to believe that I was able to find areas within myself to be confident and use that to build momentum to bring that confidence to other areas. So an example from my life would be in basketball. I loved basketball growing up. It was my first love. I was naturally good at it at a young age, but I practiced a lot and I played a lot, and I just poured everything into it because I loved it so much. And I never thought I was going to miss a shot. If I missed a shot, it wasn't a big deal. I'd make the next one. And I think that confidence in myself as a player, I put in the reps, I put in the practice to believe in myself. It wasn't like I just picked up a ball and said, "Hey, I'm a good basketball player. I never have to work." I put in the work, I put in the reps, I saw improvement, and I just believed in myself going forward. So I think that, again, some of this can be naturally in us, some of it can be poured into us, but some of us can be created as well. And we'll get to how do you kind of create your own confidence in a minute. Another way that I have tried to bring confidence in my life, and this is a more superficial way, but I think however you can find confidence for you, it works. So for me, I have a saying, and I didn't come up with this. I think Deion Sanders said something along the same ways, but it was basically look good, feel good, be good. And I don't remember ever hearing that directly or somebody saying that. I maybe had heard pieces of it together and changed it to fit to myself. But when I say look good, feel good, be good, it's not that I'm saying I want to look good for other people. I'm saying I want to look good so that when I see myself, I feel confident. So for me, some of my confidence comes from my appearance. I don't care if anybody else thinks I look good. As long as I think I look good, that's all that matters. And if I walk out of the house or I see myself before I leave and I feel like I look good, then I start to feel good. And when I feel good, I know I'm just going to be good. So for me, it's look good, feel good, be good. I say that to the boys all the time. And again, not that I want them to be superficial and not that I want them to be worried about the types of clothes they're wearing. I just want them to be putting themselves in a position where they feel good about themselves. So if I take this away from me and apply this to you or someone else, I think the look good, feel good, be good can apply to other areas. What are things that you enjoy for yourself that make you feel good? Maybe it's going to get your hair done. Maybe it is working out. Maybe it's getting your nails done. Whatever that thing might be, do it. Make room for that and bring that to yourself because that will make you feel good. And if you feel good, it allows you to find confidence in who you are and move forward. Now, I'm sure people are going to say that your confidence shouldn't reside in your appearance. And I would agree. We don't want to be superficial and vain, but at the end of the day, we're human beings. We can't change the way we're hardwired. And the way we appear to ourselves and the way we feel about our appearance, it's going to generate a confident feeling or a not confident feeling. You can have confidence without looking good, but again, it's all about how you feel. And for me, that's where I generate some of my confidence. That's how I know I feel good about myself. It's just the way I put myself together. That may not be, you could be confident wearing a total gray outfit, all gray sweatpants, sweatshirt, big and baggy, and that may not be where you derive your confidence from. I don't think where you get your confidence from, unless it's harming people, should matter. You find where your confidence comes from, pour into that, make sure you're making room for that, and allow that to start building the momentum for confidence. One other place you could find confidence is your expertise. If I think about my wife, I know that her confidence comes from being an expert in whatever her field is. So when I think back to when we first got married, we graduated college, we got married, and she started working in home sales. They give you a binder of all the things you need to learn for sales training and for the houses that you're selling. And she would study that because that is where she got her confidence. And she's a phenomenal salesperson. She's got the personal skills, the relationship building, but she would never get to those areas of her strengths until she felt confident enough about what she was selling. So she knew everything inside and out about the home she was selling, about the company, because that's where her confidence came from. Her confidence comes from being an expert, and that allows her to move to the next step of showing her other strengths. So if you need to feel that you know everything and you're an expert, don't be an expert to say, I told you so. Be an expert so that when you open your mouth to speak or you create content or whatever it might be that you're doing, you know that you know everything you need to know about that subject to feel good about yourself and you're confident. Now, why is confidence so hard? I alluded to it, or why is confidence so important, I should say. I alluded to it earlier, is that those of us on our pursuit are not living the traditional life. We may not be doing crazy things, but we're not necessarily living life on the terms that have been set forth by us by others. You can be on your pursuit and work a 9 to 5. You can work for a big corporation and still be on your pursuit. Pursuit doesn't mean entrepreneur. You don't have to be doing anything crazy to be on a pursuit. Pursuit is just you're following your passions, creating a life that you want, and that life may not be what is normal to everybody else. So pursuit is vague enough that it applies to everybody if it needs to. I do think that a lot of us on our pursuit will probably tend to be more entrepreneurial and tend to be more of a risk taker, but that doesn't mean if you're not running your own business or have no desire to run your own business that you can't have your own personal pursuit. You can. We all have a pursuit. It's just how big does that fire inside of us burn for that pursuit, and how much of it are we doing on our own versus kind of fitting it into our lives. So anyways, coming back to the comment, I wanted to just make sure that we're not excluding anybody from the conversation of pursuit just because of where they might work or what structure it might be. But when you're going out on your own path, it's different from everybody else. You might be alone for a little while. You might have self-doubt. You might have a little bit of fear. And that's where confidence comes in. And confidence not just in how we feel about ourselves, but confidence in ourselves that we're going to succeed. Confidence in ourselves that if we don't succeed, it's not the end of the world. We've talked about it before. There are learning lessons in every failure, so that if we go down this path and we don't succeed the way we thought we would, that's okay. We pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and continue on our pursuit in a different direction. And knowing that failure, quote unquote failure, is a learning lesson to help us get closer to the true pursuit that we're after anyways. So you've got to have that confidence that you're going to succeed, and if you don't succeed in the way that you think you're supposed to, that's okay. There's a learning lesson in it, and that wasn't the way it was supposed to play out. But there's still a pursuit for you to follow and go after, and you need that confidence to be able to go. You're going to need that confidence because there's going to be haters along the way. We've talked about this before. There are going to be people who are not able to pursue their own passions because they can't get outside the box. They can't go down that path of their own. They lack that confidence, and they don't want to see you go that way. And it may not be intentional. They may not realize that's what they're doing. They may not realize that's their intent, but that you've got to be confident in your vision and what you want to execute on to be able to tune that noise out. You've got to be confident that while you're on your own sometimes that you can keep going. And finally, another big reason to maintain that confidence is no matter what on your pursuit, you're going to come up against some type of struggle. Whether that is a financial struggle, it doesn't play out the way you thought it was, a relationship struggle, life is going to have challenges. Your pursuit is not smooth. It's bumpy. And maybe a little bit more bumpy than other people's journeys because you're blazing a new path, but that's okay. Again, having confidence in yourself, having confidence in your vision, will give you the ability to fight through that struggle. I've got an illustration I've talked about in another podcast that's behind the camera of two guys under the ground digging away underground, and on the end of the picture is a treasure. And one guy is about 2 strokes away from busting through the dirt to get to the diamonds. The guy on top, his path, he's still got a ways to go, but he is, you can tell, hammering away. He's not going to give up. That guy on the bottom came up against some struggle. He got tired. He doubted himself, which is natural. And he gave up. And he gave up right before he was going to, and if we want to put this to the pursuit, reach the end of that pursuit, or reach the vision of his pursuit. It was right there, and he turned away. And the guy on top of the path is going to make it all the way there. There's no doubt. You can tell by his mannerisms that he's not going to give up. He's got that confidence to keep on going, that no matter what struggle is going to be there, he's not going to give up. Struggle is going to come, and if you have confidence to stay through, I believe that sometimes these challenges are really just there to test us at how bad do we really want this pursuit that we're on. If a challenge or a struggle can knock you off your path, then maybe that wasn't the pursuit. Maybe your passion wasn't there that you thought it was. And that's okay. And maybe that was a lesson to make you move on towards the right pursuit that you need to be on. But once you get on that pursuit, once you believe in yourself, you can't give that confidence up, because you're going to need that to get through the struggle. Thinking of Ryan Holiday, I mentioned earlier, he's got the book called The Obstacle is the Way. You've got to have confidence to go through the obstacle and get around the obstacle, and not let that obstacle turn you back away from the ultimate life, the ultimate goal that you have along your pursuit. So confidence is going to be very important for you along your pursuit. How do we manufacture confidence? Well, like I said before, some of it I think is just, it's instilled in us by the people we are surrounded by. I think that if you have a group of people that you are with today, we've talked about friends in the past, back in the Pursuit on All About Your Benjamins. Sometimes the group of people that you're with are not the right group of people for you on the pursuit that you're on. If you're with people who are not, as visionary as you are, or as motivated as you are, or they're negative, those people might be bringing you down. So build your confidence with the people that you surround yourself today, not just the people who have been a part of your life as well. So the people you surround yourself with can impact your confidence to the plus or to the minus. Build your own confidence through steps. Build momentum. If you're going down a path and trying to do something new, small steps, incremental wins. There are moral victories in the pursuit. Use that as ways to build your confidence that you accomplish something. Example, let's say part of your pursuit is you want to create a podcast. Record some episodes, put it out there. Don't worry about how many listeners are there first, but just build the confidence that you can record, you can publish, and you can get it out there. And use that as momentum, and then keep on going. And then now you go from 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. And you don't have to go from 0 to 1 million listeners at once, but use those incremental increases of listeners, or whatever it may be that you're trying to accomplish, to build that momentum, build that confidence. Okay, people are getting this. They like what I have to say. Use that. Don't look at it the other way as, oh, I only have 5. No. Great, I have 5 people that tuned in, and next week I had 10, or the following week I had 10. People are liking what I'm saying, and they're talking about it, and build that story up in your mind to give yourself that confidence. Find the opportunities to build the confidence, and avoid the opportunities to take that confidence away from yourself. Optimism is going to be a big part of it. Now, I am naturally an optimistic person, and I'm so thankful, because I can't imagine living in a pessimistic way. Not always the easiest, but if you can journal, if you can meditate, if you can kind of find a way to give yourself the ability to process emotions and then look for the silver lining in everything. There's silver lining in every situation, no matter how crummy it is. Easier for me to say right now in front of this camera because I'm not going through one of those tough situations. But that doesn't mean I haven't had them before in my life. But I believe that the energy that we put out attracts that type of energy to you. So if you are optimistic, even when things are tough, optimistic that you're going to get through it, optimistic that you're finding the learning lesson, the nugget of truth, the little positive that lies in the ugliness, and you focus on that positive part, that will put positive energy out there and will bring that to you. So optimism is going to be important to building confidence. It doesn't mean that you can't be realistic with the way you view life. It doesn't mean that you can't feel sad or feel fear or feel nervous. That's all normal. The key is, as an optimistic person who is confident in themselves and their vision, is you don't let that negative energy, the negative views, compound and build up. Because as easy as it is, or I would say it's probably harder to build confidence and easier to take it away. So, when you get that confidence, don't give it away so easily. Hold on to it and fight for it. And I think optimism is a good way to do that. I don't have the keys to tell you how to be optimistic if that's not in you. Like I said, I think journaling can help. I think meditation can help. I think self-awareness can help. Being aware of yourself, talking negative to yourself. Be aware of yourself when you have self-doubt and recognize it, acknowledge it, and then push that shit away and find something positive to focus on and then focus on that. So I do think that would work. I don't know how you recognize in the moment that you are focusing on the negative, process it, and push it aside. I can tell you to do that, but I don't know how to help you to do that. And unfortunately, there are people out there who can, and maybe I can find somebody to come onto the podcast and we can have a short episode about processing that negative energy and how to turn it into processing the negative energy to turn into positive energy. So if anybody out there specializes in that, let me know. I would love to have you come on and we can talk about ways to do that and do a short little bonus episode. Focus on your thing. So I mentioned look good, feel good, be good. For me, it's superficial, but it works for me. I've always been this way. I've always appreciated having a good haircut. I know it's silly, and it's not for anybody else. It's for me. I like knowing that makes me feel good. An example of it is I have a hard part, as you can see if you're on YouTube. So just where they kind of like shave in the part. I let that grow in for a little while. And I just didn't like the way it looked. And not that my confidence was shot or I wasn't being my best self. I just didn't feel my best. I brought the hard part back. And as silly as that is, and I share this with you only because that thing can be something silly. That thing doesn't have to be a deeply meaningful thing to the world as long as it makes you feel good. As soon as I brought that hard part back, I felt like I looked better. And I felt more confident. I could feel my confidence pick up. And I know that, again, I stress the fact that sounds silly to those of you out there, but find that thing, whether it's always having your nails looking good, always having, tailored pants, whatever it might be. Do find that thing and make room for that in your budget so that you always have that, so that you're always putting yourself in a position where when you wake up and you walk out the house or you walk down the stairs, you feel your best, because that will bring the confidence, that will exude confidence, which will only begin to compound in the positive. And then finally, putting my financial advisor hat on, planning will help. A big part of why people never go down their pursuit is the fear of finances or the unknown of finances. So build out a plan. If you've got everything else in line, but you're still a little bit nervous about the path that you're going down, the uncertainty behind how does it work financially, how can you afford to do it, how can this thing be supported by your finances, and can this idea, this concept, this business that you might want to start replace your finances? There's no way to know without planning. So having an understanding of your finances, your budgeting, what do you need? What are you willing to give up? Can you sacrifice to go down this pursuit? Do you want to sacrifice to go down this pursuit? And if you don't, that's okay. That may just mean that passion that you're pursuing is a complement to what it is that you're doing. It doesn't become the primary focus of your life. And we've talked about how that's okay. I would love to see everybody put their passions and their values at the center of their plan, at the center of their life, but maybe it's not right. Maybe that doesn't need to be there. Maybe that's okay for you. Maybe the path that you're on is great. You just need to have that passion as a small part of your life, and that's okay as well, as long as you know that. But planning is going to be a big part of that. Alleviate all of the unknown, understand your finances, understand how it works, have a plan so that you feel more confident about that. The plan itself is not going to take away all of the fear, but it's going to minimize the amount of fear. And I always talk about a leap of faith. If starting a business or going on your pursuit is a leap of faith, doing things to bring that jump shorter or not as far is a positive. So I think planning helps that. If you're not sure about the finances or you don't know what it needs to take, run the numbers, build out a plan. Here's how I'm going to make this happen. It's never going to pull the two sides together, but it's going to pull them closer so that when you make that leap, it's not as far, it's not as scary, and your chances of making it to the other side are greater. And then the final one is just to prepare and mentally prepare and understand that there are going to be people who are going to talk negatively about whatever it is that you're doing. Or maybe they're just talking negatively about you because they don't like you. And you have to understand that those negative projections that are being thrown at you are really a reflection of something about themselves that they don't like. You have to be able to tune that noise out. You also have to be able to process some of that, because there might be some truth. If there's criticism in it, there might be some truth for you to take away, but you can't let the doubt and the negative talk from others shake your confidence and pull you away. So if you have to know that it's going to come, so that when it does come, you realize, I expected that. I understand why they're doing it. Is there any truth to what they're saying? Let me find that truth to better myself, and I'm going to move forward and not let their unhappiness shake me. It's not your job, as Dr. Roney said on a previous episode, it's not your job to make other people happy. You can't make other people happy. People have to make themselves happy. Now, you can be a contribution, you can be a positive force in their life to help them find that happiness, but it's not your job to make other people happy. Your job is to make yourself happy so you can be your best self, so that the person you're putting out to others is the best version of yourself. That's your gift to them, to help them find their happiness. So mentally prepare for that negativity. Doesn't mean you have to like it. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have to cause any self-doubt or second guess yourself. It's okay if it does that, but you have to have that confidence to realize that that doesn't need to knock you off your path. So confidence will help push some of that out. All right, so those are the ways I think that you can add confidence, build confidence, keep confidence as you go on your pursuit, because it's going to be important to have that. It's going to be hard to blaze a path and try something that no one else has tried, or live the life that you really want when other people are suggesting you do something else, if you don't have confidence. Not going to be impossible, but it's going to make it even harder. So find that confidence in yourself, hold on to it, don't let anybody take it away from you, and find ways to allow it to compound and bring more momentum to the confidence, so as you go on your pursuit, you can maintain that path and not turn away like the guy at the bottom of the illustration, and not reach your treasure in that illustration. So that's it for today's conversation. I appreciate you sticking with. I know I rambled a little bit, but that's my style. I've got some notes of things I want to cover, but then it just, whatever comes in the moment is what's supposed to come out at that time, and I can always double back in the future, revisit this conversation, add more to it. So I want to let you know I appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. When you get 100 subscribers, you get to get a custom URL. So I would love to be able to have Pursuit as the custom rather than all the numbers and letters, but I'll take it for now. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave some comments. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast as well. Reviews will help it be found. I will ask that you, if you're enjoying it, share it, leave a review, rate it, just to help more people find it. But at the end of the day, I also trust that those that need to find this show or these shows will find it on their own, because it's meant to be. So I appreciate again you tuning in. Like, share, comment, all those great things. And let's keep on this pursuit together. We'll see you on the next episode.